Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, it's Brad. The Empowerography Live Conference 2026 is happening live and in person for the first time here in Toronto in April of 2026. This is your chance to step fully into your power over 2.5 incredible days. You'll hear from 30 plus inspiring speakers, join hands-on workshops, and connect with women from around the world who are ready to grow, learn, and rise together. This isn't just an event. This is an experience that will leave you motivated, empowered, and ready to take action. Seats are limited, so head to my website and secure your spot today. All the information will be in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you in April. Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Franceska McCaughan. She is a human design expert, the founder of Goddess Millionairess, a keynote speaker, an author, a multi-brand entrepreneur, and a trauma-informed and embodiment practitioner. Welcome, Francesca.
Thank you
How
so
are
much
you?
for having me on this show. I am so excited to be here.
I am equally as excited, if not more so, to jump in, to have you here. Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I'm so excited about jumping in and sharing a little bit about your story, your journey, and of course, the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. So, with that being said, let us get this party started. So, who was the woman before the titles, the brands, the books, and what did she dream about before her life got loud?
Oh, I always say I do everything for a 6-year-old, 7-year-old version of me that knew that she was living a very fucked up life, that did not have answers to why things were happening a certain way in her life. And not only that, but like how she was navigating it and actually surviving. And I just knew that one day I just was not interested in that being my life. And I just thought when I'm an adult one day, I'll get to decide how I want to live my life. And it's still something that I talk about today. It's like the beauty of being an adult, you get to decide. So who was I before all the titles? I was a little girl that knew that one day she would one day grow up and have titles. But everything I do it for her.
I love that. So what was the moment then that forced you to realize the life you were living no longer matched the life your soul was asking for?
I'm still going to go back to that little version of me because I think so many of us as adults, like as much as we want to say, oh, it was a partner, or it was a job, or I outgrew the city I was raised in. A lot of us who are change makers, trailblazers, cycle breakers, we knew from a very early age when it didn't make sense. And I had a very near-death experience as a 7-year-old that I met 3 guardian angels. And again, like this is not a normal,
Wow.
I don't think a lot of 7-year-olds had this experience.
No.
And I just kept thinking, the only way this makes sense is I'm supposed to do something with this. And again, childlike brain is not having that sophisticated of a thought, but I always felt like I had already outgrown the life I was given and knew that from a very young age. Grew up without running water, really watched my mom struggle with living below the poverty line, being a single parent, battling addictions with alcohol, leaving her custody at the age of 12 due to Child Protective Services coming into our home and living through 2 foster care homes. And I just thought, I just outgrew everything. I outgrew every environment I was in. And it made sense because I wasn't really built for those environments. So I would say it started from a very early age, from like ever since I can remember. I just always felt like I'm just in the wrong movie. Like I know I chose to be here and I signed a contract, but this is the wrong film. Okay, guys, I was supposed to be in a rom-com. You put me in some sort of godforsaken thriller. I did not sign up for the thriller.
I don't want to be part of this movie.
Take my name off the chair.
Would you mind explaining a little bit about or sharing your NDE with us? What that was like?
NDE.
What you experienced? Near-death experience.
Yeah. So I don't actually ever think I've spoken it out loud. I've written about it in the book, and that was already very shocking because you're like, how is this my truth? And then you're also like, did I make it up? Am I the monster? Like, how could this even happen? And I can only tell it from my perspective, but as a child, my mother really struggled with alcohol addiction. And I always said this was the difference between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And she would become a person that she wasn't during the day. At night, she was a completely different person. And I can't imagine what she must have gone through to even get into a place like this to cope. But this was my reality of the parent I had at home. And because she was a single parent and we lived very isolated, like we didn't have any family around, we didn't have any friends, I learned to really navigate my safety at a very young age, to the point where I would sleep on top of the roof. I would hide. Like it was very dangerous for me. And one night, being the outspoken leader that I've always been, I decided to push boundaries a little bit, as I think most also 7-year-olds do. And she was very into her drinking for the night, and we had guns in our house. And actually, it was my job to load the gun. So also looking back, very unsafe for a child to do this every single night. And she picked up the gun and shot me. And I'm pretty sure we should probably have a warning in there for anyone listening.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I'm trying to tell this from a very grounded place. I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, this is just like a matter of fact story. I have done so much work around this. I've done so much healing. Writing the book was extremely therapeutic, but also very difficult for me. I had about 3 months of just one big migraine. So I've done a lot of work around this. And so I don't tell the story lightly, but it was in that moment that I really thought I was good for dead. I don't know how it didn't happen, but what I do know happened was there was a big light. There was 3 sets of arms slamming me to the ground to the point that I felt like I had broken a bone. And when I realized I was still alive, I was very scared. My first thought is, shit, she missed. What do I do now? But I also felt, and again, in the story, I talk about it, that there was a God, that there was a higher being, that I wasn't just completely forgotten about. Because I think children that have been abused, they just feel thrown to the side. And it's not just by the parents and not just by society, but just actually just forsaken in general. And it was in that moment that I realized that there was something so much bigger than me. And when I finally got up, I had glass all around me because it was one of these old dressers that had a big mirror. And where I stood up, I stared at the hole. So my mom was a very good aim. She will stand on the front porch and shoot copperhead snakes in the head. She's a true Texan lady. She's a good aim. And for whatever reason, she dropped her gun, told me to clean it up. So I went and got a broom. I swept up all the glass. I'm 7, by the way. Put it in a plastic bag, went to sleep like everything was normal. And then the next day I thought, surely she can't ignore what happened. She ruined a piece of furniture. Like all the evidence is there. Like surely now I can finally tell her how she's one way in the morning and one way at night. And maybe she'll finally understand. And somehow, and she's a very small, petite lady, 5'4", she drug this very heavy piece of furniture out to the trash receptacle first thing in the morning. So when I woke up, it was completely gone. And we never talked about it again. And it was just series of events like that over and over. And the moment I would try to bring it up, even the last time I tried was back in 2020, it was how I'm a monster. How could I ever accuse her of doing something like that to her daughter? What's wrong with me that I would even have these kind of preconceived notions that she's done something like this? And I have just honestly gotten to the point where I feel like my soul did a contract with her soul. I picture people's souls going out to an auction. Hey, we're going to go grab a Lifetime. Let's go see what Lifetime we're going to get today. And they stand there and they read off these crazy things, but somehow it's going to fulfill some sort of karmic next path for you. And you go, you know what? That sounds super fucked up. I will take that one. I don't have on my scorecard yet, be a cycle breaker. I'm going to sign up for that one. And then we come in and we do life. And my childhood definitely shaped me. It's a big reason why I haven't yet to become a mother. I don't know if that's like a pain I really want to go through again, even though I know it could be super healing. But I've just really made it a point to honor my story, hold my truth, take care of my inner child, and have that be enough, and realize that we were put in certain situations, even near death experiences, for a reason. Like, we did choose that. Even though I know that's really going to piss people off, it gives me a sense of empowerment because it reminds me that I'm going to be okay. That was always okay, even though that's a horrible thing that happened to such a small little child.
It is. It sounds fucked up when you say that we chose that, but we did. We chose these paths that each of us are on, and these experiences that we all go through for a reason, whether it's to fix something from our previous life, our previous time we were here, whatever it is, we chose these experiences. And yeah, a lot of people will be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. But it's true. This is our karmic path. This is the path we chose. And it's to take the lessons from our previous life and learn. And then it just continues on with each lifetime that we come back.
And then we're also able to help more people. Like, I wouldn't have the level of understanding that I have for people who've been through abuse and been through extremely traumatic things, especially with caretakers. And I'm never going to be one that labels one big T trauma more traumatic than another person's trauma. But what it helps me is to be informed. It helps me have empathy. It helps me create more light in this world, because I can say, hey guys, yes, this is really shitty, but let's do something about it. And the fact that if you look at our homeless population, if you look at the statistics that we have when it comes to like addiction, just people doing drugs on the street, majority of them were introduced to by a parent. When we look at people who are addicted, 70% of them had childhood trauma. And the more that we can start pulling this out, it's not a trend, it's not some sort of theme. It's the fact that we have platforms now. We feel safer now being able to share it. We're entering the day and age of the individual. So we no longer rely on the tribe or the community where we get in that prostitute energy and we will totally just disconnect from ourselves to make someone else comfortable. It's like, this is the evolution of humanity. And while some of us had horrible things like this happen, let's educate and stop it from continuing to be this really quiet, systematic issue, a systemic issue in our society.
Yeah. I applaud your strength, your courage, your vulnerability. Thank you very much for sharing that, because this is a big part of what this platform is all about, is giving women like yourself the space to share their stories so that other women out there listening know that you're not alone. No, your situations are not the same, but there are similarities. And it's important to let other women and men know who are listening that you're not alone in this. There are people who have gone through similar things, and it's okay to share about it. And it's okay. The most important piece is that you know that you're not alone. You're not the only one who has gone through something like this. So thank you very much for your bravery, for sharing that.
It's my pleasure. And thank you for asking. And I just want to add one other point. It's while you know you're not alone, it's also remembering that you have a sense of responsibility, whether you like it or not, to heal these parts of you, because this is what really does stop the whole cycle. This is about what makes our society better. And remembering that if you went through something traumatic, it was because your soul decided it could handle it, that it could come out the other side. So just because you've had a horrible experience with men, or you've had a very traumatic experience as a child, it's still on each of us to heal those parts of us so we can go on and have healthy partnerships, that we can go on and learn how to give love and receive love freely and not with conditions attached to it. And I think this is sometimes we get a bit stuck. I don't want to call it a victim mindset, because it's not always placed that way, but it is. You get so fixated on what happened in the past that you forget how much power you have to change that into something so incredible for your future. And you're going to be the one responsible for that. And it's part of reparenting yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So if every title you hold was stripped away, the author, the speaker, the entrepreneur, what would remain that feels like your truest success?
Being a person that lives in integrity. And I love that you asked this question, because in 2020, when I did have everything stripped away, I was running a multiple six-figure floral design company around the world. I was really proving to the world how gritty I was. I would outwork anyone in a room. I really had no clue who I was. Honestly, again, unresolved childhood trauma. And I just thought the fatter I make my bank account, the more I work, the more I think about how my husband is a loser and I'm a winner and all the things, because all of this feeds the fact that I'm enough. And if I'm enough, then I'm lovable. It just came tumbling down in 2020 when basically the whole world shut down. And I'm sure a lot of people listening, I sat in my closet for 2 weeks and I stared at the wall and I thought, what the fuck do I do now? Who am I? Am I a funny person? Am I a nice person? I'm in my 30s and I'm asking if I'm a funny person. And I just quickly realized that I had no idea who I was. It's taken me about 5 years to figure that out. But when I think about now, if everything was to be stripped away again, it's like, I'm in integrity with who I am. I decide the way that I want to lead every day. I decide what is successful to me. I decide who has all access passes to me. I decide what I want to do in this lifetime. If I've done it once, I can do it again. If I've done it 10 times, I can do it 100 times. And it's just always coming back to what is an integrity to me. And nobody can give you that.
I love that. No, absolutely not. You have to, that's within you, and you have to find that within you for sure. Success for women is often built in silence. What is a battle that you fought privately while the world was celebrating you publicly?
Going no contact with my mom. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's also been like one of the greatest things I've ever done, because you think about, once I get to be a certain age, once I look a certain way, once I make a certain amount of money, once I marry that person, once I start that business, and then you just quickly realize that you're just always moving the goalpost, but you're never actually going to cross the finish line. And I decided when I got into the online space in 2020, when I first got in there, I was working with florists, and I quickly realized I was sitting in front of florists like me, and I was getting triggered as fuck. Oh my God, how am I supposed to help this person? Either I had no empathy for them, or I was like freaked out that they were going to find out I was an imposter. And I quickly realized, okay, if you're going to be a leader, Francesca, like, you're going to have to do a little bit more than a few Instagram lives.
Just a little bit more.
I had never hired a coach in my life. I didn't know anything about the word personal development. Like, I was just like, go make shit happen. Prove to the world that you can be somebody. Your parents thought you were worthless. Maybe the world will decide you're worth something. And then I thought, I'll write a book, because legit leaders have books. Very basic, superficial thinking. I told my editor, I said, give me 4 months. I'll have you a book. She laughed. I was like, wow, you don't know me. I'll write it in 3.5 months. And it took me 2 years, by the way.
I was just going to ask.
And it was something about that journey of coming back home to myself and really anchoring in like what leadership means and how to like show up to the people that you're meant to serve. But naturally, a big part of that book was about my mom. And I just realized a lot of things were happening that were still very unhealthy, and I was tolerating them. And I wanted to write this book squeaky clean. So I decided I would go no contact with her for, I think it was to finish the book, not even 2 months. It was basically July. And I said, by August 15th, I'll reopen the communication. I had informed her I was writing the book. I had invited her to be part of the book. I had done everything I could to think of to repair, even though it wasn't my job, but that's what we do as children. And I just remember the day that I turned off all access, I had never felt so much relief in my entire life. It was like this crazy wave of peace where I just thought, holy shit, do people feel like this all the time? It was like reaching for your phone and not having a level of anxiety. It was like opening your email and not seeing a name. We were like, oh, do I open it now? Do I open it later? And I really loved the peace. And all of a sudden, I was getting harassed by family members I hadn't heard from in like years, and just people feeling so entitled to my life. The police were sent to my house numerous occasions. There was this huge smear campaign. People started commenting like openly. And all this time I was publishing the book. And I hadn't really talked about going no contact because I didn't want to offend her. She needed to be able to tell her side of the story. This was something that should be private. And I don't even think I really came out with it until about this time last year, about a year after the memoir had been published. And then all of a sudden her one friend would jump on it and be like, oh, I don't know what happened to you ladies. It makes me so sad. I'm like, we're not friends. She is a mother. I'm a daughter. Clearly, if a daughter is cutting off a mother, there's some serious issue there. And this is what do-gooders do. They try to put everything, try to make it the child's responsibility to fix. And it's a child's responsibility that this happened in the first place. And I've just gotten to this level of just zero tolerance about it. It was something that I really had to find my ground. But publicly, the book was being published. We were talking about the book. The coaching companies were growing every single day, showing up online. But behind the scenes, it's every time a family member would get in there, or a ex-foster parent would get in there and leave a comment or leave a review or call my phone or send crazy text messages. It was just constant block. And I just thought it can't last forever. But that was something I was really silently, and even still to this day, like things are happening and I'm like devastated behind the scenes, but I do one big cry and then I'm like, I feel complete, moving on.
That's a hell of a thing to struggle through and deal with on an ongoing basis while you're trying to live life, run a business, all the things. I can't even imagine.
But you have to be in integrity. And I just thought, if I had a daughter and I would never leave my daughter alone with this person, why am I leaving myself alone with this person? If I'm going to live my whole life trying to explain myself to people, how am I ever going to be a leader? I don't need to explain myself to you. If you want to encourage me to have a toxic relationship with a toxic person, that it has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with you. And no matter how many times I would try to be very black and white with people, I'll still never forget trying to explain it to a family member. And literally I got, what a bummer. What a bummer. And I was like, these people are not on your level, Francesca. Stop wasting time. And it is devastating. No. And your parents will do very manipulative things and try to reach you every way they can. And your in-laws won't understand. Your in-laws will be like, I don't understand. Just call your mom, your poor mom. Your mom's almost 80, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is nobody's business. This is nobody's life but mine. And again, if I'm going to be integrity with who I am and how I show up and how I make decisions in my life, it starts with the decisions that I make for myself first.
Nobody lived through what you lived through, so they can't speak to it.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. You are the only one who, you or your mother are the only ones that can speak to it, your sides of the story. And that's it. Other people that weren't involved or that don't know or don't, you cannot, how can you expect someone, oh, just get over it, contact your mother, your poor mother. But what about the poor girl, Francescka, who went through all of that shit and has still been affected by it because you guys won't leave it a fucking alone.
I think what happens is and this is why people don't do it, but the more that we can see leaders doing it, the more we're reminded that it's actually, we can do the same. People don't like to be uncomfortable. There's a reason why only 1% get what they want. And it's because they do what 99% of people won't do. And it involves discomfort. And the moment that things get uncomfortable, whether you agree with it or not, the immediate human's reaction is to like make it go away. It's uncomfortable. It's making me uncomfortable. It's exactly.
I don't like that feeling.
And I have just decided to be very comfortable with uncomfortable, knowing that nothing lasts forever. Everything is a season. And I cannot live a life where I continue to shrink and play small to be more palatable to people, especially if I know my life theme in human design is to literally blaze trails and be a leader. I'm only like shutting, my soul's going to have to come back and do it again. Like, we're not doing that.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't learn the lessons, that's exactly what your soul has to come back and go through the same shit again. And so in your own healing journey, what part of yourself was the hardest to face and what part was the most beautiful to reclaim?
Probably how entitled I felt to things. Just, I say I had my my righteousness sword out all the time. You don't know what I've been through. I can outwork you. You don't get to talk to me like this, but I can talk to you about this and I'm perfect. And it was just really because I had this deep fear of not knowing who I was. And so to be, again, showing up, taking accountability, apologizing when things needed to be apologized for, making decisions that I knew were in my best interest while also considering other people. It was not the pretty side that I wanted to be honest with, but it was definitely a side that really needed healing. It's like that. It was like that mean girl energy, but it was really just, it was a protection. It was like a protection. It was basically like I put a trash bag over myself and I thought I was really protecting myself with armor when someone could just pull the trash bag off.
But you had your sword too.
Very dangerous, by the way, combination.
Yes. Trash bag and sword.
It's a hot mess. But I also want to say I love that version of me because it brought her to the point where I could say, hey, wait a minute. I don't really think we need to continue doing this. It's, I don't know, if we all went back to the same pair of pants that we wore at 4, hey, I don't really think we need to wear these pants anymore. They don't fit.
Yeah, I was going to say they won't fit.
They serve their purpose. When you were 4, they were perfect. But now I think we can donate them. And so it's also, especially if you've had any type of childhood trauma, there's so many coping mechanisms that, first of all, do make you successful. I feel like people go one of two ways. They just completely fall off the bandwagon and they forget about themselves, or you have these really crazy overachievers just trying to prove their worth. And it's remembering that you can only get so far. Whatever brought you here is going to keep you here. And you have to constantly grow and evolve that. And for a lot of us, when we take that armor off or that trash bag, we feel so exposed and vulnerable because we haven't had that like healthy, and I use air quotes, like childhood where we actually learn how to have healthy communication and we were modeled healthy relationships. We suddenly are like, oh my God, I'm naked and I have no clothes. So how do I like shimmy over to this side here to figure out my game plan? And so when you're breaking down your coping mechanisms, it can feel very vulnerable, but it is absolutely required for you to go, what are the ugliest parts of me that I know are holding me back from this like true, beautiful ball of love and light that I know I'm meant to be? And what do I need to do to go ahead and release those? It's not about fixing. It's not about doing anything wrong. It's just like, this no longer serves me. These pants that I wore when I was 4, they're never going to fit. And then I would say probably the most beautiful thing, just allowing my intuition to really start guiding my life, but not in a place of like survival and like scanning rooms and constantly trying to figure out how to get the upper hand and make sure no one's taking advantage of me. But like in this way of, wow, this person, this conversation, it really lights me up. This client, she's asking this question, but I actually think we need to go deeper and we need to talk about this thing. You know what? Today I woke up and I feel like this, but actually I'm going to give my body this, or I'm noticing there's this level. It's just allowing the intuition to actually guide my life versus being this like random thing that hangs out in the background that I check into every once in a while. And really allowed me to feel more grounded in my body and really more focus on what I'm doing and a lot less of what I feel everyone else should be doing or what they're not doing or what I should be doing more of. It just has really given me this beautiful perspective of living in the game versus being in this gap mentality, but using the intuition as a roadmap.
And learning to trust that intuition, because it's been I would say in most of us, it's been tamped so far down that we've forgotten it's even there. So it's a matter of remembering and rediscovering it, because we all have it. Every single person on this planet has that within us. It's just a matter of, are you aware enough to realize it's still there? And do you want to do the work to learn how to utilize it and tap into it again?
Yeah. And sometimes it's uncomfortable going back to discomfort.
Yeah. Yes. I was just going to say,
can it really be that easy? Or, oh shit, this is really going to piss someone off. But this is how you live a life in integrity.
Well, I love that you said, can it be this easy? Because we as human beings, of course, we tend to complicate the fuck out of everything. It's really not that difficult. We just make it more difficult than it has to be because we think, can it be this easy? Really? Yes, it can.
Too many of us are making problems where problems don't exist.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to dive into the human design stuff. I love this stuff. And I know you, of course, human design expert. This is your area of expertise. So first of all, what attracted you, or how did you get involved and bring human design into your life? And what is the part of your human design chart that most challenged you to embody? And how did integrating it completely change your life?
So I would go back to 2020. I'm in the bathtub and a friend sends me a link saying, hey, I think you should check out this human design thing. I think you'll really like it. And this is when we're all sitting at home and we're learning about enneagrams and personality profiles. And I'm looking at all of them. I already know them about us. Yes, I already know. Again, this very entitled woman. And I remember looking at the link and my first thought was like, absolutely not. I was like, first of all, there's weird skeletons. I don't know what to do with weird skeletons. Second of all, it says something about a projector. That doesn't sound cool because that's only 20% of the population. I'd rather be a generator. That's 70% of the population. So immediate no. I did not get any kind of instant gratification from it. So now flash forward a year, 2021, starting to think about writing the book. I mentioned I took off my trash bag armor with my righteousness sword, shimmying into an alleyway because now I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm like, shit, I don't know who I am. And at this point, I'm like desperate. So I'm like, there was that human design thing. You know, that at least tell me something.
Yeah, some breadcrumbs
Give me
there.
a personality test. And anyone that's listening, human design, and you're not familiar with human design, is actually very incredible. It is, me calling it a personality test is like calling a Bentley a tricycle. Like, it doesn't make sense. Human design is based on 5 different sciences. And essentially, it's your soul's blueprint. And that's why I say, like, your soul came here on a mission that it chose to accept. It hopped in your body as its vehicle. And it comes with a very unique set of tools to actually fulfill its mission. Problem is, nobody was taught about these tools. So we're essentially out there trying to do life. Let's say I'm a plumber and I'm using an electrician's toolbox and we're wondering why it's not working. And so I started really doing a deep dive on human design and immediately was like, I'm overwhelmed. I need to be perfect at everything. I'm also a one line for anyone listening. So I love education. I'm constantly learning, which it all makes sense later. But I said, okay, let me hire a one-on-one coach. And I go to this session. I had very little expectation for it. I was just like, please tell me who I am. I need to fix this so I can get back out there. And she just sat with me for an hour and I had just never felt so seen in my life. And I always say, like, when I do readings, I'm not going to tell you something so special about yourself that you don't know, where you're like, oh my God, I'm telepathic. I had no idea. But I am going to tell you stuff about your life that you're deeply ashamed about. I am going to show you areas of your life that long time ago someone made you wrong for. And I'm going to show you your true genius and your life path. And all of a sudden it's going to click for you. And I just remember at that moment, I was like, okay, I got to do something with this human design. This is so incredibly fascinating and it's so accurate. And how is that even possible? And when I think about my journey with this over the past 5 years of being certified and then bringing it to my coaching and now just specifically helping women in their business make more money through their human design, the hardest part for me is being a projector. And I'm an energy projector. There's 3 different types of projectors, but energy projectors feel like they have all the energy in the world. And then out of nowhere, they just forget about it. So to really regulate energy, and especially because I just always want to be going and I always want to be doing, and projectors have been very shamed in their life, sometimes lovingly, sometimes not so lovingly, about never being able to keep up, being too slow, not having more energy, people being so concerned for them when things get hard, and just not working like everyone else. And it's because projectors are about 20% of the population, and they're here to see things. They're here to guide people. I always say, imagine we're on the fields or in the plains of Kenya and you've got a cheetah and you've got a bird. There's no way that the bird can keep up with the cheetah, but the bird can tell the cheetah where the injured gazelle is. And so this is how we all work as a collective, but the cheetahs have been shaming the birds for not being able to keep up with them. And the birds now have PTSD. So the hardest part for me and my living my design is really honoring being a projector. But I have to embody and live in integrity with my design if I'm going to be out there helping other women do the same. But it has been very challenging.
Yeah. There's that integrity, that I word again.
Always.
I love it. Thank you for explaining that for those who don't know a lot about human design. So what is a truth then that you discovered through human design that completely shattered the way you saw yourself?
Probably the life theme. Everyone has a life theme. There are 192 in human design. And just also for anyone listening, I want you to also understand that human design is as unique as your thumbprint. So not one person has the same exact human design. There's 5 energy types and there's 8 general authorities and there's rule of thumbs, but then they're all ingredients. Everyone has different kind of gifts. Everyone has a different makeup, but everyone has a life theme. And when you look at your life theme, there is no way that you can't do the life theme. It's, again, the soul came here on a mission. This is your mission. So my life theme is basically be an embodied leader. It's like, I can't ignore all the times that I was called bossy. I can't ignore all the times I was told, stop being a know-it-all. I can't ignore all the times that I was told, I don't know what I'm doing. Stop acting like you know what you're doing all the time. It's because I do know what I'm doing, because this is my life theme. So I love diving into that with clients, especially women who are tiptoeing around what it is they know they really want to do. And I find in our sessions, you're either going to cry, you're going to tell me some deep, dark secret that nobody else knows, or you're going to have this complete, I don't relate to that. It's just like, it just takes a bit of a while to land. And all are perfect. But what I love is that when you get to that life theme, I don't care how much you want to tiptoe around it. I don't care how much you're like, I don't really know about that. It is going to make you lock the fuck in on your mission. And that is the whole point. Or you wouldn't be here in the first place. I think it's like a 1 in a billion chance that you're even conceived and born, and then you live through the traumatic things that you live through. You have to remember we're all put here on purpose. And I think something that's really landed for me lately is that sure, I have gifts and I have a life theme, but it's not about me. It's about the fact that I can help other people bring their gifts to the world. And then all of a sudden they also go and unlock gifts for other people. And imagine if we're all for all the healers listening, the cycle breakers, trailblazers, if that's the integrity that we live behind and we follow the life theme, the life path, there's no way you can fuck anything up.
Yeah, that is incredible. To be able to do that for another human being is such a fucking power. I think it's the most powerful thing we can do as human beings. I really do. I think it's such an incredible gift to be able to give another human, to be able to do something like that for them. It is so beautiful. So what would you say then is one of the most powerful invitations human design gave you that completely rewired how you lead, love, and live?
I think human design really helped me actually be able to see my partner as a human. And I say that again because you obviously have a bit of understanding how I grew up, and the way that I was not safe. I did not have a father, so I grew up not trusting men. The men in my foster homes tried to take advantage of me in some way or another, or were not like very stable people. And when I married my husband, I genuinely love my husband. So it's not like I married him for the wrong reasons, but I didn't really know how to love him. And I knew I could love what I thought someone should give me. So I thought, if I'm young enough, I'm pretty enough, I'm perfect enough, then you owe me all the things that I want. I just felt like love was very transactional. And this went on for quite a long time. And it wasn't until human design where I actually started seeing like all the things I thought were wrong with my partner were actually just him being true in his own design. And it's silly things that you don't think about, but it's like the way you eat. It's the way you make decisions. It's the way that you communicate. It's the speed at which you operate. There's so many things, so many nuances. I'm actually starting to do readings for couples because now all the women I've helped, they're like, hey, can you help me and my partner?
The natural evolution,
but it was the greatest gift because I started to see my husband as not a role or a title or I did all of my jobs. Why aren't you delivering? Why are you having a human experience? Why are you having a midlife crisis? No, you're supposed to do all the things. And instead, oh, you're a person like me. Oh, you have to sleep on decisions. That doesn't make you slow or indecisive. I don't. Oh, that's interesting. So how do we decide we make decisions together? So I feel like that was so eye-opening for me. And the other thing I love about human design is especially, again, one line, love learning. I'm never going to get to the bottom of the barrel. Like I am a student every single day. I read twice a day. I have like books, human design, just like everywhere. And I'm obsessed with it. I'm always finding something, but it's like a permission to see people in their humanness.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that. I think that's incredible. Not only is the work you're doing with your clients helping them, it's helping you too. We continually learn because we're continually evolving. We're humans. We always grow and expand and evolve. And it's helping your relationship. So it's the impact of it is fucking huge.
It's like the one profession that you're constantly like pouring back into yourself. And I just think every day, like, how can I show up and be better for my clients? It's an addiction. It's a very healthy addiction because I enjoy it. But it's that integrity piece again, right? Sometimes we get so caught up when we build businesses and stuff that we are performing, but we're not actually being the person that people want to buy from. So I'm like, how do I learn more? How can I show up and serve more? How can I take this even deeper? How can I put another spin on it?
Yeah.
But that's my gift, being able to explain things in a way that people just get it.
I love that. So what part of your human design then hit you like a lightning bolt? The one that made everything suddenly make sense?
So everyone has a profile number. The first number is how you see yourself, and the second number is how the world sees you. And the fascinating thing about this is the first number, the way you see yourself, is essentially imprinted on you at the time of birth when you escape your mother's womb. And then the second number in your profile, because it looks like a fraction, is about 88 days before you're born, your soul imprints on your body. And that's how the world is going to see you. So when I tell you I'm a one line, that is only one part of my profile. So as a one line, this is how I see myself. I am the expert. I am the person that finds safety and knowledge. The 3 line, which is the other side of my profile, is living trial and error. Life is my greatest teacher. I don't even cook spaghetti. I don't even take it out of the box. I just throw boxes of uncooked spaghetti at the wall all day, every day. And I don't think twice. And so when I learned that a 3 line literally lives by trial and error, literally has to go and, hey, the burner's hot, don't touch it, has to touch the burner. Hey, the light bulb was taken out, don't put your finger in it, has to go put the finger in the light bulb socket. You name it, I did it. I'm sure I was a stressful child because I was doing all the things. But the moment I learned that, I was like, whoa. So I'm not a fuck up. Like, I don't have to get it right all the time. Like, I haven't lost time. And I used to get really upset when friends would be like, hey, don't you think you should just pick one thing and maybe you'll be more successful if you just did one thing? And I was just like, God, it feels like death. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 15 years and I've had at least 5 chapters of my entrepreneurial journey. That is a life of a 3 line. So everyone in the outside world sees me as this person that's not afraid of failure, will just go after it and do whatever it takes, will pivot, is not afraid of reinventing. Whereas I don't really see myself that way, but because I am that way to the outside world, it inspires them to do the same. And so that was the part of my human design where I go, oh, this is normal. Okay, good.
I'm not fucked up. I am normal. I would love to just keep talking about human design, but there's so many other pieces we have to talk about here. Your trauma-informed work. What's a trauma response you carried into your leadership without realizing it? And how did you unlearn that?
Oh, wow. Judging people. And not because I'm an evil person and I wish ill upon people, but I would judge people's efforts. Like, if you really wanted it, you would just work harder. And almost having this sense of disdain for people who weren't committed or didn't have to, like they didn't really have to go all in. They didn't really have to have skin in the game. And it made me like resentful, if I was being really honest, because I've always had to have skin in the game and it was always on me. And this is what I meant when I said I was getting triggered sitting in front of people where I was like, oh, I know this is not healthy. Like, I know this is not okay. I should not be judging my clients for how much effort they're putting into this. But instead of being able to now speak from a place of, do not join my programs if you don't want to do the work. If you don't want to feel discomfort, this is not going to be for you because you won't get results. I work with action takers and self-led women. And if that is not you, then come back when you're ready. Like, instead of embodying that and being a leader in it in the very beginning, because I went from florist to online coach. So there was like very little training. And those are 2 completely different skills, which I had no idea until I was sitting in front of someone and I was just like almost judging them from this place of, why don't you try harder? Why don't you ask better questions? And that's when I started noticing, I think we need to go look at this personal development thing because this is not the type of leader that I want to be.
And so what's a truth about leadership you learned the hard way and wish more women understood sooner?
People, as a coach of mine would say, people are going to do people-y things. They're going to write really nasty, uncalled for emails. They're going to lash out. People, and this is not the majority of people, so anyone listening to this, I definitely don't want to freak you out. But I have had a handful, not a lot. But over the past 5 years, I have had a handful of moments where I just wanted to crawl in a hole. Where you're like, how did I offend a stranger on the internet like this much? You start seeing how people, their own money mindset, the way that people feel entitled that they can speak to you, how they can publicly try to slander you, how they can take advantage of you, how they can sign contracts for thousands and thousands of dollars and then suddenly ghost you. And there's so many things that have happened that I just wasn't, like, I would never do. So it like blew my mind. I'll still never forget sending almost, I don't know, over $40,000 to collections where I was just like, how do people just ghost payments? Like, I've never ghosted a payment in my life. And when you're an embodied leader, you just have to realize that this has nothing to do with you. It really slowed me down for a while. It made me a lot less confident in my work. I started buying into the old narratives of you're not good enough. See, people found out you suck. I don't even know why you're trying. Look at you. You're a failure. Look at all this debt you have. Like, what dream? Like, you're really actually not good at anything. Like, of course I had the bitch voice, but I had to tell the bitch voice to shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, because it was not going to support where I wanted to go. And I think people, a lot of times they admire leaders, but they don't realize that true leadership is an embodiment and it's an active choice every single day. And it starts with your thoughts. I don't care how amazing the shower is you took yesterday, you will need to take another shower today. That is leadership. And you can get support. You can constantly pour into yourself. You can get around better people. But if you are the type of person, which if you are a leader, you're going to always be this person, your main job is to 10x. When you get to your next level, you 10x. When you get to your next level, you 10x. So it's not like you run across some magical finish line and you're never uncomfortable again. So if I could go back and really think about what I would tell that version of me that I learned today as far as leadership goes, it's just let people do people-y things. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. The moment you can detach your worth or your success off of that, the easier and the more fun it's going to be. And the more you can serve your people.
That's part of the embodiment, is realize it has nothing to do with you. It's their shit, and that's okay.
People do people things.
I love that. What truth did you finally face that became the catalyst for your deepest transformation?
That no one was coming to save me. And it didn't matter like how nice I was or how perfect I was or how good I was, or especially as like women, whatever like empty word you want to insert here. If I was going to build a life for myself, I was going to have to build a life for myself. I was going to have to show up, and I didn't need other people's validations to buy into it. And I didn't need to make decisions when it made sense. I needed to trust my intuition. I needed to decide that my needs mattered. I needed to go after my dreams like they were already mine, and nobody was going to do that for me. And there was a while there that I felt very bitter about that, because it was, so I get this shitty childhood and I have to do the adult shit. Like
adulting sucks. Sometimes it sucks.
I'm like, I didn't even get the fun like years before the adult stuff. But then I was like, what are we going to do about it? Are you going to stay here and complain about it? Or are you going to go out and help change lives and change your life in the process? And life is going to get so fucking good that you can't even wrap your head around it. And the sooner you like get a move on, the sooner we're going to get there. And again, that's part of reparenting your inner child, because a lot of times our inner child is driving the car, and that is not safe. And you got to sometimes stop.
No, because kids shouldn't be driving.
Stop and take them and put them in the back seat and have a little stern word with them. But I'm like, no, you're right. No one's going to come save us. Just like nobody came and saved us when we were 7, and that is devastating. And no one came and saved us when we were 12, and that was also devastating. And but we're okay, and we signed up for this, and everything's going to be great. But we got to create a new story. And so that's what, that's what it looked like.
Be your own fucking superhero. You have to put on your own cape and fly. That's it. That is it. What do you hope women feel, not think, not achieve when they encounter your work?
Joy, relief, a sense of empowerment, a remembrance of who they've always known themselves to be. Like I said, for me, it started when I was 7, laying on the floor in glass with a bullet that had just gone off, wondering, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to do in my life? This is insane, but this can't be normal, so it must be big. And just always knowing I had this big story and mission that just always felt bigger than me. And I would always tell myself, when I get older, once I have the money, once I've done the XYZ, and it finally got into my 30s. And I was like, what are you waiting for? Just to get older? No, you're going to have to grow balls. You're going to have courage. You're going to have to cut people off. You're going to have to actually be who you say you are. You're going to actually have to become a person that people want to work with. You're going to have to do a lot of things that are going to feel really uncomfortable, especially because you've got no one holding you accountable. You've got no one checking in on you. But if you're really here to do a big mission, do it for her, do it for 7-year-old me. And I think I'm not special. My story is unique, but I'm not special. Everyone has their own story. And for me, it's if I can really help women feel and reconnect to that fire and their mission that they know they've had their entire life, then that's me living my soul's mission, my soul purpose.
Love it. Now, as mentioned off the top, you are the founder of Goddess Millionairess. Can you tell us all the things, when you founded it, what it's all about, what the inspiration behind founding it was?
Yeah. When I was on this taking my plastic bag off journey and putting my sword down, I was trying to figure out who I was. And one day I just had this download, and it was just like clear as day, like, I am Goddess Millionairess. And I laughed out loud. I was like, that is the most fucking absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Same thing like when Human Design found me. Because I was like, I'm neither goddess nor millionairess. I grew up below the poverty line without running water or food in my fridge. I'm not a goddess. I don't know what the hell to do with that. I don't wear flowy dresses or dance around in the woods around a fire. Like, I just want to make a shit ton of money and prove to the world I'm good enough. I operated very heavy in my masculine, and that is survival mode. And then one day I was sitting and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I remember my husband and I, we were on this road trip. We converted a cargo trailer and we lived in it. It was a tiny home on wheels. We'd never RV'd in our life. And we took 3 cats with us and we RV'd for 7 months. I have no idea how we stayed married. But anyway, it was an incredible experience. And we were driving in the truck one day and I turned to him and I said, by the way, I probably haven't showered in 2 days. I have a baseball cap on, covered in dirt. I think our black tank blew up in the last dump. For anyone listening, that's basically where all your wastewater goes. Things are not pristine, okay? And I said, hey, look, I think I'm Goddess Millionairess. And I remember I laughed out loud. And he just looked at me and he's, I know. And like he had no doubt in his mind. And I was like, you don't think this is weird? You don't think this is weird that I have like, I'm Goddess Millionairess? What does that even mean? He's like, no, when I think of you, I think that makes sense. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, people see something that I don't see. I don't see this version of me.
Yeah.
And I just started saying, what would Goddess Millionairess think? How would Goddess Millionairess respond to this person? How would Goddess Millionairess shop for clothes? How would Goddess Millionairess eat? What would Goddess Millionairess prioritize in her life and in her business? And what I found was having this archetype really allowed me to go from that heavy survival masculine to lean a lot more into my feminine, but in a very slow, trusted way. And then the Millionairess really helped me understand how this like living in survival mode from all the money trauma that I had been through, that actually I could be the first millionaire in my family. That was accessible to me. And so it really helped me reprogram what I believed got to be true for me. And I just decided, again, being in integrity, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to call it Goddess Millionairess. And everything I do for Goddess Millionairess is going to be like, what would she do? Who would she serve? How would she show up? What is the community that she would build? What would be the impact she would have? What is the movement that we're going to create that would really be beneficial to anyone that came in contact with it? And it would remind especially women that you don't have to operate in a place of survival or in your masculine, that you can actually reconnect with your feminine. And you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. You don't have to get some sort of award by being the hustlepreneur, the poorest person in the room. No, go out there and claim big wealth. Your gifts are worthy of big wealth. Let's start normalizing that. I just made a post about it yesterday. I said I made 100 sales in 30 days. Let's talk about it. Let's start talking about money and what's available to us.
Normalizing the conversation.
Exactly. So that is how Goddess Millionairess came around. And that's what it means. So it's one part goddess, one part millionairess. It's the energetics, the masculine and feminine energetics, and the knowing that your gifts can create generational wealth.
So is it a membership? Is it a coaching container?
Just my company, just a company name.
Just your company. Okay. I love it. Love it. So what relationship then within or outside yourself did you have to let go of to rise into your next level?
I would say the one we spoke about with my mother, because obviously I couldn't do things in integrity if I was keeping this toxic person in my life. And somehow I was teaching about boundaries. Like that didn't make any sense. And I also really had to let go of the versions of me that I had outgrown again in my marriage. Like we all play roles in certain relationships that we're in. And a lot of times we outgrow those roles based on the way we define them, because we're constantly growing and evolving as people. And so I would say there's been many times over the past 5 years where I'm just like, you know what? My terms and conditions have changed. What I want out of this relationship is different than what I wanted, 3 years ago. I've been married now almost 15 years. So naturally, like this is going to be an evolution. But I think women oftentimes just shut down and then resent men, and men do the same. They shut down. They feel unheard. Women feel unseen. And I definitely am not a relationship guru. So I don't really talk a lot about relationships. But I have to say, for someone who grew up without anything being modeled for her, pouring into my relationship is very important. But so is also being in integrity with who I am, and that this is a co-creation. And this is not where two people are like codependent on each other. And that was definitely something that I had to let go of. I had to let go of that version of me.
That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. As mentioned as well, you are a 2-time best-selling author. Can you tell us about the book, all the things?
So SurThriving is my memoir on how I broke the cycle of child abuse and poverty. It's my story to a T from when I was a child up until 2019. So this is all pre-pandemic things. And it was really just showcasing what it actually looks like to be a survivor of childhood trauma, but also then to realize how your coping mechanisms are deeply impacting your relationships and your quality of life and the level of success that you actually get to achieve for yourself. And for a lot of people, there's a majority of adults, I would say, have unresolved childhood trauma, and it is robbing them of fulfilling relationships. It is compromising quality of life. So I wrote this book in hopes that my vulnerability would help others connect to their own vulnerability, and then start a little bit curious about how they could become a better version of themselves, because we all know what we've been through, but what is it that we want to create next? And SurThriving really talks about that. It's not about just surviving something bad. It's about, yes, we want to honor that part of us, but then we also need to remember that we can still thrive in this lifetime.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. We'll put the link for the book in the show notes when we release your episode. Francescka, if your soul wrote a letter to the world about your purpose, what would its first sentence be?
I don't know why this just came through, but I have to giggle. I'm here to fuck shit up. That's literally just what came through.
Beautiful. Hey, I love that. That's impactful.
I would
That's
just
powerful.
say I'm here to remind people who they've always known they were. Probably fuck up, but in the meantime.
That's part of the journey, though. That's how we learn, is through fucking up, through failing.
Yeah.
For the woman who's exhausted from being strong for everyone but herself, what is the permission slip you want to give her right now?
I hate this phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup, but it's so true. If you're not taking care of yourself first, you can't be mad at other people. Like, you're setting the precedent.
Mm-hmm.
And we can always choose a new standard. So it doesn't matter who you were yesterday or an hour ago, but if you're already noticing like you're doing everything for everyone else, stop. Like, it really does get to be that simple. And if you can't do 100% like hard cold turkey, do 10%. Don't reply right away. Put your phone, turn the ringer off. Get back to someone tomorrow. Set a firm boundary of, oh, unfortunately, I'm not available. Or thank you for thinking of me. I'll reach out to me next time, but it doesn't work this time. You're the only person, again, nobody's coming to save you, but you're the only person that can continuously pour into yourself. And the more that you do that, the better everyone's experience of you is going to be.
Beautiful. What does freedom mean to you at the very deepest level, beyond money, status, or recognition?
Just feeling like there's no hindrance to how I want to operate, what kind of ideas I want to bring forward, the way I want to move, the way I want to express myself. It's just, and my whole life is built on freedom. It's like I have one deadline today, and it's caused me anxiety like all day long, because I never lived like this. I have freedom, and I have no alarms in my life. I'm very intentional with what I set on what days, again, letting that intuition come through. And I love freedom. I think freedom is the biggest gift we could ever give ourselves. And I know we think it's on the other side of money or once the kids leave or whatever the thing is. But honestly, if you just woke up 30 minutes earlier and rolled over and started reading a book, that's freedom. It's like however you want to live your life and express yourself is freedom.
Yes, love it. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you? All right. Love it. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Reclaiming your truth. Like really owning your truth and knowing that you can reinvent yourself anytime that you want. Being an empowered person is just deciding who you want to show up to the world, deciding what place you want to have in it, deciding what impact you want to make and who you want to take along with you. It's a decision. And it starts with reclaiming your truth, because a lot of people, I feel like they're trying to negotiate that with themselves and with other people.
Beautiful. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3
I'm nervous.
word answers. All right. You got this. I believe in you. What is your favorite place on earth?
I don't know if it's my favorite place, but it just came through. I would say Dubai.
Okay. What is one of your secret or hidden talents?
I'm double jointed in my.
All right. If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
To own your truth.
What is one of your guilty pleasures?
Probably staying in bed all day.
One word that sums up your mindset.
Powerful.
One book that changed
SurThriving.
your life. What is one word that defines the woman you're becoming?
Happy.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. See, you did it. You did it. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. How do you define love, both the kind you give and the
It has to be free, like without expectations. And a lot of times we feel like we give love, but there's some sort of like hidden agenda, or we're giving love to reassure something within us. So I think love ultimately, and again, I'm not a guru speaking from this like hilltop of perfectionism, but when I think about love and how I could get love better and give love better, like how I could get the topic of love better, it would be to be more free with it.
Okay. If you were to introduce yourself to me without mentioning your occupation, where you're from, your nationality, all the day-to-day bullshit markers that we use in life, how would you introduce yourself to me?
Hi, my name is Francesca, and I'm really excited to meet you. Tell me, I don't know why this is coming through. Tell me a secret that nobody knows about you.
Okay. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Oh, I think you've asked me so many incredible questions. What's coming through right now, I would say, what's something really difficult that you navigated that nobody knows about?
Go ahead.
I would say there was a very long period of time I navigated financial uncertainty after having huge financial success. And I tried to speak about it once, and instantly the people on the internet basically wanted to remind me how that wasn't my reality. And it was probably, I wasn't really ready to talk about it. And I'm probably still not 100% ready to talk about it. But the reason why I think it happened is because it forced me to still become this person, even though every day I would stare at 2 cents in my bank account. I would stare at $100,000 in debt on credit cards. I would watch payments not come through for days and days on end. I would watch payments bounce. Like, it really felt, and it didn't happen just once, it happened over a very long, significant period of time where it was like you start every month not knowing how you're going to pay your bills and not knowing how it's going to work out. But you know that every day you have to show up like it's already worked out in your favor. And I just remember I kept telling myself, you're going through this for a reason. It doesn't make sense. You're not this person. You didn't go out and spend this all on like bombs and you don't know where any of this money went. But it's like you had this mission and you believed in it when nobody saw it, and it's all going to work out. But you also need to remind people that money is not a requirement to go live your truth. Like, will it be uncomfortable? Will you have to get creative? Like, when I published my book, I didn't know how to pay my editor. I literally sold my patio plants. It was just like, everything was so scrappy. It was day to day. It was so hard on my nervous system, but I just totally detached my worth from money. And it was probably one of the greatest gifts I could ever give myself for someone who wants to make a lot of money. I'd never want to feel like a really rich, poor person. So I had to completely learn what it was like to be who I wanted to be without the validation. And probably something I'll talk about in the future, but that's been something that's that's probably a deep, dark secret.
Yeah. Thank you for opening up and sharing that, Francesca. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
I would say Princess Diana, because she was also a projector. And I think she was a really beautiful, praised woman, but I think she was very misunderstood and very unseen. So I would just simply want to see her for an hour and just, what are the parts that we missed out on that she was judged for?
Yeah. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
It's better than you can ever fucking imagine.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would your tribe, your corner of the world, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
It starts with me, but it ends with you. And it's remembering that whatever you feel called to bring to this world isn't about you, it's for other people. And the moment that you make it less about you and more about them is when you can really show up and serve the people that you're meant to serve and have the impact that you're meant to leave on this world. And then that way you never have to come back again. At least not in this mission. You fulfilled the mission. You get to scratch your bingo card off.
Beautiful. Francesca, thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today, for your vulnerability, for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your insights, for sharing your story. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to sit down and share in your journey with you. It is an absolute honor and pleasure. I am grateful to call you a friend and have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you so much for your deep questions. And I feel like we need to do a part 2 in the future.
Yes. Thank you once again. My name is Brad Welsh, host of your Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest has been Franceska McCaughan. She is a human design expert, the founder of Goddess Millionairess, a keynote speaker, an author, a multi-brand entrepreneur, and a trauma-informed and embodied practitioner. Thanks so much, Francesca. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.